Imane Khelif, the Algerian boxer, won a gold medal, but the controversy surrounding Khelif is ongoing. Now, people who know Khelif are speaking out, saying that, yes, Khelif is indeed male. We will get into all the details on that. Also, Trump and Elon Musk spoke last night on X, and Trump started posting on X lots of really important and interesting things. And then also, we will end this episode on a very happy note as we look at some of the Olympians who gave glory to God when they had the platform to do so during the Olympic Games. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Good Ranchers. Go to goodranchers.com, use code Allie at checkout. That's goodranchers.com, code Allie. Hey guys, welcome to Relatable. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week so far. Okay, today is the last day of the week that you will have to bear with us with how this sounds, with how this looks. Hopefully, though, today it's a little more consistent than it was yesterday. I appreciate how gracious you guys always are whenever we have any kind of technical changes or difficulties. Okay, we've got a lot to get through today, but we covered some politics, election politics yesterday, so I didn't want to dedicate today's show to that. I wanted to talk about something that is a little bit more positive, some things that are a little bit funnier and patriotic, but I do, because of some political news yesterday, I have to touch on at least some of it before we get into all of the Olympics things. And that is some big news that Donald Trump is back on X. You'll remember after the January 6th debacle a few years ago, he got off X. He was kicked off X. Remember just the mass censorship that happened after that, even to people who weren't in any way associated with January 6th. Meta, Twitter at the time, took all of these accounts down, censored all of these accounts. Conservative commentators lost like hundreds of thousands of followers right after that. It was very crazy, very dystopian, very scary. And Trump, he was kicked off X. And then when Elon Musk bought X, shortly after that, I think it was, I don't know, several months after he bought X, he actually restored Donald Trump's account. But Donald Trump has Truth Social, and so he posts almost exclusively to that, except for last night. It was a dawn of a new day, and Donald Trump decided, okay, I'm going to reopen my X account, and I'm going to host a Twitter Spaces with Elon Musk, and they talked about a variety of things, a range of topics, including the recent assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. And while I don't think a Twitter Spaces is going to reach that many people, I know that there were a lot of people on it, but I'm talking about in proportion like to the United States, it's a pretty small percentage of people. I still think it's important because we are experiencing, as we have for the past several years, especially in election years, the suppression of certain information and certain vantage points. I've noticed this even when I use DuckDuckGo. It is really hard to find information about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And while I haven't tried this on ChatGPT, someone that I trust, who is not even a conservative commentator, she just said, you know, some of you have been sharing me that ChatGPT, tongue-tied, will not talk about the assassination attempt. And so you guys can try this if you have tried ChatGPT before, but she just typed in, when was the assassination attempt on Donald Trump? Can you tell me about it? And ChatGPT, this AI bot, said there's never been an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. He has never actually been shot at. There have been security threats. There's been things that his campaign has been worried about, but nothing has actually ever come to fruition. That's really scary. When you try to find a positive story about Donald Trump, a negative story about Kamala Harris, it is very hard to find. Just the other day, when I was researching for that graphic that I put up on Instagram, talking about David Daleiden, the new videos that he has released, Kamala Harris going after him when she was AG of California, I remembered that I had seen an article by the New York Post, and I had seen it on X, and I wanted to look it up to get the information for this graphic. And so I typed in all the keywords that I could remember, like very exact, into DuckDuckGo. I could not find the article. I could not find it at all in the first, second, third page of my DuckDuckGo search results. I had to go to X and find the exact post that I had found by New York Post to find that article. I mean, that is a huge obstacle that we are up against. So all that to say, I do think that the partnership between X and Elon Musk and free speech advocates is a really positive one. It's going to benefit conservatives because, as we know, there is such a hefty left-wing bias when it comes to the vast majority of big tech, and conservatives have had to pay the price for that prejudice over the years, which means not only our perspectives don't get out there, in large part, obviously not completely, I'm talking to you guys on YouTube right now, but in comparison to liberal perspectives, but it also means very many times the truth doesn't get out there. When you think about the censorship regime under COVID, and that has a real effect on people's lives, that has a real effect on people's livelihoods, that has a real effect on the direction our country goes. And so even if everything is completely above board when it comes to election day, we still have the kind of tampering that is apparently completely legal by these major multi-billion-dollar entities like big tech, like these major corporations, the mainstream media, academia, all of these entities that are completely in the bag for Kamala Harris. And I don't say that to make you feel discouraged or demoralized or for you to think, well, there's just no reason then to go out and vote. Look, they were all in the bag for Hillary Clinton too. And they'll definitely win if you don't go out there and vote. I know you've got a lot of people saying only vote on election day, only vote on election day. I completely disagree with that. You should vote early. Vote as early as you can. Why? Because things happen on election day. Your kid has an emergency dentist appointment. You have a stomach virus. It is a monsoon outside. There's traffic. There are technical difficulties happening at the polling location. The power goes out. A million things could go wrong on voting day. I know that there's this mentality that if I vote on voting day, that gives them less time to tamper with my vote. No, vote early. Like I said, there's so many challenges that could come up on voting day, and that could mean that you don't actually get to vote. And that is a big problem when it's on a large scale. So vote early. That is my 2 cents. I actually wish some conservative mega donor would just fund a massive campaign encouraging people to vote early. This push by some conservatives to only vote on election day is so dumb. Don't listen to that. So anyway, all of this is really important what's happening on X right now. I'm very thankful for Elon Musk and how he is championing the other side of things and also championing free speech. So Monday marked the return, as I said, of Trump to X. And not only did he have this Twitter Spaces with Elon Musk, he also made multiple posts on X in the hours leading up to the interview, suggesting that he might be returning to this as his communication tool. He posted lots of ads. I thought the ads were good. He also posted a graphic on Instagram. Amazing that he is allowed on Instagram too. More power to Meta for that. Just listing what his policy proposals are and the solutions to our problems. And, you know, they were the expected solutions, things that we've heard from him over the years that are very popular. Closing the border, you know, punishing the drug cartels that control the border right now, putting an end to inflation, which would have to mean much less government spending, better economic policies. He had a long list of policy proposals, including keeping men out of women's sports. He didn't say anything about abortion, which of course, that's my number one issue. So I wish that he were stronger on that, as we talked about yesterday. But also, as we talked about yesterday, if he's not, then he should just stop talking about it and just say, you know what, I'm on the side of life. Kamala Harris has not put out her list of policy proposals. The most specific that I have heard her get when it comes to things that she thinks should be done when she's president is her suggestion that we should have no taxes on tips. And who said that first? Donald Trump. Donald Trump suggested that several months ago. So the only time I have heard her during this campaign get specific about her policy proposals, she is literally just copying and pasting a Donald Trump policy proposal. The only thing that Kamala Harris stands for is unfettered abortion. That's it. No one can tell me who is voting for her what she has proposed. Like, what policies is she putting forth? What is her solution to inflation? The most specific I have heard her get before this election cycle, so before she copied Donald Trump, was in the last election cycle when she completely failed, fell on her face in trying to run for president. And that is that she wants to ban private health insurance, just get rid of all of it, and also ban fracking. Those were her words, verbatim. That's not an exaggeration. And we can already see what she thinks about immigration policy. She's been a border czar for the past 4 years, despite the media trying to cover that up. And she's done absolutely nothing. I mean, she had to have her arm twisted to even visit the border. There will be 1,000 more Laken Rileys under a Kamala Harris presidency because she wants to incentivize those kinds of people to come to the United States by rewarding them with things like free health insurance. So that's Kamala Harris. She's trying to capitalize on the vapidity, the stupidity of many voters by just putting out as many good vibes as she possibly can. And she's trusting that a lot of people aren't going to think very hard, that a lot of people are just going to vote on how they feel. And she's right, a lot of people will. But we have to hope that a lot more people don't. And we also, when we can, have to use truth-based emotional appeal to get to those people who unfortunately will vote based on feeling. So we just have to have a reasonable perspective on all of that. All right, quick pause to tell you about our first sponsor for the day, and that is Lumen. Guys, I'm so excited about this product. This could be a game changer for your health. It is the first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And then on the app, it lets you know if you are currently burning fat or carbs. It gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, your workouts, your sleeps, and even your stress management. Like, it'll tell you, okay, based on what your metabolism is doing right now, here's what you should eat today. Here's how you should work out to maximize your metabolism. Make sure that you are properly metabolizing the food that you're eating so that you can actually burn fat. And the metabolism is so, I think, misunderstood. For me, all I ever knew about it was that, okay, you could have a slow metabolism, it slows as you get older, or you can have a fast metabolism, something that you were born with, then there's nothing you can do about it. I did not realize that there are things that you can do to make your metabolism healthier and work better for you and your body so that you can get stronger, faster, more in shape, lose weight, all of the things that you need to do. And this is just a really, really easy way for you to do that. So you breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, it'll tell you what's going on with your metabolism, and then give you nutrition, workout suggestions based on that. This is like your body's engine, your metabolism is. And so if it's not working correctly, then the rest of you can't work correctly. So try this out. It's lumen.me/relatable, lumen.me/relatable. You'll get 15% off your purchase. lumen.me/relatable. So when he was talking to Elon Musk, like I said, he talked about the assassination attempt. He talked about Kamala Harris and the Biden administration. Trump criticized Harris, accusing her of failing at her role as border czar, which is absolutely true. Illegal immigration. Trump slammed the Biden-Harris administration's approach to border security, contrasting it with his own policies. Absolutely true. Return to Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump announced plans to return to Butler in October, referencing the strong support he received there. I think that is a great campaign move. Musk's endorsement of Donald Trump. Musk clarified that the event was a conversation rather than an interview aimed at showing Trump's true character, and mentioned his endorsement of Trump for the 2024 election. The economy, Trump focuses on issues like inflation. He says people want to hear about the economy. Food prices are up. This stupid administration allowed this to happen, and it's a shame. And that's the thing most people care about, in my opinion. I think he's right about that. No matter how pro-life you are, no matter how much you care about the border and these other issues, which of course are actually existential for our country, like you have to care about being able to feed your family and being able to afford not just the things that you need, but yes, things that you want to do too. People have felt that shift over the past few years. Education. Trump told Musk that he plans to eliminate the Department of Education. That's huge. I want to close up the Department of Education, move education back to the states. Of the 50 states, I would bet that 35 would do great. And 15 of them, or, 20 of them will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. The former president attacked Harris as a San Francisco liberal. 100% right. Like she was radically left for California, for San Francisco. And she's trying to tell us that she is the pro-freedom, even moderate candidate who had changed her tune on issues such as fracking and defunding the police. Let's not forget that about her, is that she contributed to the Freedom Fund after the George Floyd riots. And part of that funding helped release a man who then went out and murdered someone. So that's Kamala Harris. He argued Harris would revert to more liberal stances if she is elected in November. 1000% true. She is a puppet of the abortion lobby, of the environmentalist lobby, and of the LGBTQ lobby. And we've already seen throughout her career that she will sacrifice all of your constitutional rights, especially those listed in the First Amendment, if it is in service to her donors. She is corrupt and cruel to the core. You can go back and listen to our first episode about Kamala Harris from a couple weeks ago. I think actually from last week. If you want to hear more about that, we'll link it. Trump also attacked Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, for signing legislation requiring schools to provide free menstrual products in all public school bathrooms, which is true. Tim Walz loves to waste money, and that's why he decided taxpayers have to fund that. And the humiliation, by the way, of the teenage boys is the point. The humiliation is the point there. I mean, just absolutely absurd. And if you don't even understand why he has done that, it is because they believe that a girl can identify as a boy, and that girl may still have a period, even if she is identifying as a teenage boy. And when she goes into that restroom, that boy's restroom, she might need a pad or a tampon. And so there should be no stigma. Of course, it all starts with a lie that boy can become a girl and vice versa. Of course, that is impossible. We shouldn't encourage that. It's completely destructive. It is degenerate, and it is so harmful for the very kids that they say that they are standing up for. And that's just who Walz is. He is not some moderate guy. And as we talked about yesterday, he also wasted tens of millions of taxpayer dollars providing free lunches to wealthy families in public schools who are not allowed to opt out. So, as I said, Trump was very clear about his GOP platform, Make America Great Again. He's still using that. Seal the border, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. That's not just an immigration policy, that is an economic policy. I mean, massive deportation of illegal migrants. So, by definition, every single one of them has committed a crime. That will also lower the cost of housing. That will also help us economically. He says, make America affordable again, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Again, that's not only an energy issue. That's not only an economic issue. That is also a national security issue. When we are not relying on hostile foreign powers for our oil, we are safer. He says, stop outsourcing, turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. We desperately need that part of the country that JD Vance knows so well and represents. Like, that is for them. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Remember, that was his idea that he proposed, not first Kamala Harris's, which is a great idea. You'll hear constantly from the left, they only want to cut taxes on for the wealthy, which of course is just objectively false. That actually, it's really Democrats who hate that group that makes between $100,000 and like $800,000. I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, but a lot of those people are people who did not inherit generational wealth. They've just been able to work hard enough to make money. And that really is the group that Democrat tax policy just wants to gut and just wants to demoralize by robbing them of so much of the wealth that they've built. Keep the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. I'm not reading all of these. He also says prevent World War III. Like, let's also remember that Kamala Harris means war, because we had relative peace under Trump. Like, you'll remember that even in the Middle East, unprecedented peace. And then under Biden, we had this drastic failure of a pullout from Afghanistan. We had Russia invading Ukraine. We've got Iran threatening to attack Israel. We've got the threat of nuclear war happening all under Biden. Kamala means war. And we also know the Democrat position to try to enlist both men and women through a compulsory draft. And so under Kamala Harris, you are looking at World War III in which your daughters are drafted. And I think Donald Trump and his history shows us that that is much less likely when he is president, because a strong America is better for the world, especially the most vulnerable in the world. He says, deport pro-Hamas radicals. That's amazing. And make our college campuses safe and patriotic again, which I love. If I were to give some advice to a Trump team, like, I've been asked, okay, well, how do you shift the vibes for those young people that are really voting based on like branding, based on what the campaigns look like and sound like? You leverage those cool frat bros that a few months ago were holding up the American flag. I think it was on University of North Carolina campus. You contrast that to the people who I guarantee you are voting for Harris, who are stomping on the American flag, burning the American flag, hoisting up Palestinian flag, defacing our monuments, defacing the Liberty Bell. You leverage the frat bros, the patriotic frat bros. And especially right now in fall, start to the school year again, you've got rush happening. I know this might not make sense to a lot of you, but you leverage that part of the college campus. They love America. Their parents love America. Most of their parents are voting Republican. Those sorority girls, though, they could easily get caught up in this movement of, making Kamala brat and get kind of caught up in the feels of Kamala Harris. And so you got to leverage the frat bros to secure that vote. I know that might sound silly and superficial to some of you, but it is what it is. Don't hate the player. You can hate the game, but those college kids vote. If you want to shift the vibes, if you want to shift the branding, those are the patriotic young kids. Leverage those guys like the ones at UNC hoisting up the American flag. All right, next sponsor for the day is Jase Medical. We've been talking a lot about the election, and man, none of us can anticipate exactly what's going to happen. Like, even just in the next couple months, what's going to go on that's going to throw us all for a loop. We just want to make sure that our family is prepared, that we are taken care of. We don't want to be paranoid, but we do want to be prepared when it comes to, for example, our medical supply. So if there is some kind of shortage or some kind of supply chain issue, if for whatever reason you can't go through your traditional means of getting the medication that you and your family need, you want to have an emergency stash. And if you have no idea how to do that, how to get, for example, antibiotics that you might need if you have an infection, or get to the prescription that you rely on a daily basis, then go to jase.com. When you go to jase.com/Allie, you go through their confidential telemedicine process. They'll get you a Jase case of different things like antibiotics, Tamiflu, ivermectin, other medications that you can add on, like an EpiPen that you might need. Jase is hosting an exclusive giveaway where you can win a Jase case for life. You can win a Jase case every year for the rest of your life. There's no purchase necessary to enter. Don't miss out. This ends August 31st. Just go to jase.com/Allie. When you buy, enter code Allie at checkout for a discount on your order. That's promo code Allie at jase.com/Allie. Oh, I wonder what I wonder if Elon, I don't know if Elon and him talked about this. It says cancel the electric vehicle mandate. Interesting. Cut federal funding for pushing CRT, radical gender theory, keep men out of women's sports. Okay, love it all. The media didn't like it, though. Here's what USA Today says. Trump rambles, slurs his way through Elon Musk interview. It was an unmitigated disaster. Let's see. Newsweek. Donald Trump's lisp during Elon Musk interview raises questions. The Guardian. So Donald chatted with Elon, and here's the future as they see it. Losers win, incompetence rules. That is hilarious considering the Democratic idiocracy, cakeistocracy that we have been subjected to and that we would be subjected to under Kamala Harris, who has never earned anything. It's just true. The New York Times, Musk's Trump talk on X. After glitchy start, a 2-hour ramble. Elon Musk throws a Trump rally. And it's funny because the Harris campaign, they're saying that this is a billionaire trying to steal the election. Here's what Harris says. Their campaign. Donald Trump's extremism and dangerous Project 2025 agenda is a feature, not a glitch of his campaign, which was on full display for those unlucky enough to listen in tonight during whatever that was on X.com. Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself, self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year 2024. Like, I will say, it shouldn't be glitching. The same thing happened to Ron DeSantis. That just shouldn't happen. I mean, I know it's like you're breaking the internet. You've got so many people engaged. But can we, I don't know, can we not? But I do think that Trump is revving up. I do. I do wonder, as I said yesterday, if the honeymoon phase for Harris and Walz is ending, if they've got their bearings now, they understand what needs to be said, they understand what needs to be done, and let's go. Let's go. There are so many things on the line. I was just talking to a conservative friend yesterday about just my concern with how Harris will fundamentally change the country even more than it already has under Obama in Biden. At the very least, we need someone to stave that off for 4 years, at the very least. And so if you can vote for no other reason, even if you're not enthusiastic about Donald Trump because he's not as pro-life as you and I want him to be, or if you just have Trump fatigue, whatever it is, at least vote and get your friends to vote to stave off the radicalism that is Harris and Walz. They're anti-freedom, they're anti-prosperity, they're pro-chaos, pro-degeneracy, pro-war, anti-parental rights, anti all of the things that Christians should stand for. And let me just, before we get into the Olympic stuff, let me just talk about this for a second. There is an Evangelicals for Biden group or Evangelicals for Harris group, I should say. There was an Evangelicals for Biden and Evangelicals for Harris includes some people like Jamar Tisby, includes some people like Latasha Morrison. You know the name Latasha Morrison because she authored the book Be the Bridge, and there are groups nationwide for being bridge builders, and it's supposed to be about racial reconciliation, but as we've talked many times before, it employs unbiblical principles and pushes favoritism and partiality rather than truth and biblical justice. It gives different rules for the white people who are participating in it, different rules for the black people who are participating in it, telling white people through their Whiteness 101 document that you are not allowed to refute or rebut any criticisms or accusations by the black people in the group, that you just need to sit in silence, listen, and learn. Don't talk about your own lived experience as a contradiction or an example. Don't center yourself. All of these ridiculous secular directives just towards white people that, of course, are not given toward black people. And she pushes this idea of collective repentance by people who all share the generally the same melanin count in order to try to reconcile with others who have generally the same melanin count. And she unbiblically tries to use scripture to support her claim, but she fails to do so. And so people should have seen the warning signs a long time ago in the bad theology that she pushes, unfortunately, there are many pastors that have promoted her work who are otherwise trustworthy. And so that in itself is unfortunate. It's a very divisive doctrine that she promotes, but it shouldn't be all that surprising that she is standing up for publicly the ticket who has very unabashedly pushed abortion through all 9 months for any reason paid for by the taxpayer, and whose policies are only going to lead to destruction and lawlessness and chaos. And so if you are still part of a church that is pushing that curriculum, you need to have a conversation with your pastor about that for a variety of reasons. But I actually think it is very elucidating. It's very illuminating when we see these people just say what they support. Just be very outright and open about the policies that they, I assume, presumably, stand for. And we can link past episodes on Be the Bridge, and you can hear some of the specific issues with it if you're interested in that. But I mean, there are evangelicals, people who say that they're evangelicals, who are voting for Kamala Harris, and you've got to engage those people in love and in truth, and unashamedly too. That doesn't mean that your spirituality is tied to your vote, or that is your entrance into having your ticket into heaven. Of course not. We don't believe that at all. I have friends who are writing in. I have friends who say that they're not voting. I even have some friends who will vote for Harris, but I know that we are not on the same page theologically, so that makes sense. But you've just got to ask questions to those people, engage them in truth, engage them in love. Don't be ashamed of your position. While also, of course, realizing that at the end of the day, we are all made in the image of God, and that partisanship is not paramount. It matters. Policies matter, of course, as we've talked about many times, but try as much as you can to preserve those relationships, even as you push your friends to think a little bit harder about what policies they support and why they actually matter. All right, third sponsor is We Heart Nutrition. Y'all, I take my supplements from We Heart Nutrition every single day. I take their postnatal vitamin. I take their iron supplement, which is great. It's really easy on your stomach and it absorbs really well. So I feel a lot more energetic because I've always struggled with lower iron levels, like no matter what I'm eating. And so it's helped me battle anemia, and it's helped me be a lot more energetic. As a mom of 3, that's very necessary. I take their omega-3s and I take their magnesium every night as well, and it's been a game changer for my skin, my hair, my nails, and again, my energy levels. This is a pro-life Christian company. They donate a portion of their sales to pregnancy centers to save lives. Go to weheartnutrition.com, use code Allie for 20% off your order. That's a great deal. weheartnutrition.com, code Allie. Okay. Let's get into Imane Khelif, because believe it or not, this is still being talked about. This is the gold medal Olympics controversy going on right now with this boxer. And I am going to say he, because as I will explain, as far as we know, this person is actually male according to his chromosomes. So here's the summary of it, and then we'll get into the details. So Algerian boxer Imane Khelif, who had previously been disqualified by the International Boxing Association from competing in 2023 when a genetic test showed male chromosomes, received the gold medal after beating the Chinese competitor. After winning the Olympic gold, Khelif filed a legal complaint with the Paris prosecutor's office for online harassment and purportedly false claims about Khelif's sex during the Paris Olympics. International boxing insiders who have direct experience with Imane Khelif have come forward to say that Khelif should not be included in female boxing. This is all reported by Redux. For example, Khelif's own trainer, Georges Cazorla, I think that's how you pronounce it, also confirmed in a magazine interview that the Algerian has a male karyotype and high testosterone, saying there is a problem with her hormones, with her chromosomes. He also added that he found the disqualification based on biological tests disgusting. Okay, so he doesn't agree, I guess, with him being excluded, but he does admit, yeah, okay, he's got different chromosomes. Cazorla told the magazine the disqualification was based on tests. I found it disgusting regardless of the results of those biological tests. And without going into detail, this poor young girl was devastated to suddenly discover that she might not be a girl. So Cazorla says that Imane Khelif did take a test, knew that the results came back saying that he had XY chromosomes. And while he was devastated, he still continued to box. Evolutionary biologist Colin Wright has narrowed down Khelif's potential condition to most likely be 5ARD. Males with this condition, he says this exclusively affects males, often present at birth with female appearing or ambiguous genitalia, leading to a potential misclassification as female. However, people with 5ARD possess fully functional internal testes that produce male levels of testosterone during puberty. That, of course, is what accounts to men being so much faster, bigger, stronger, insurmountably than women. Moreover, those with 5ARD are fully responsive to testosterone, meaning they undergo a typical male puberty. Their bodies will respond to lowering these testosterone levels. Khelif meets all these criteria, the criteria of 5ARD. And so let me give you a little bit of background about this, because this has been a huge controversy with people claiming, no, Imane Khelif is definitely a woman. She is a female. They've been showing pictures supposedly of her when she was younger. And yet it was reported again by Redux that she had been previously excluded from these boxing competitions. He had been previously excluded from these boxing competitions because when he did a blood test, it was found that he had XY chromosomes. So the International Boxing Association is the entity that had come forward saying, hey, Khelif and Lin, another boxer, they both have XY chromosomes. They both are male. They should not be competing against women. But then the International Olympic Committee actually permitted their participation under more lax rules. They said, look, it says female on the passport. The Olympics don't actually test for that thing or for that particular thing for their chromosomes. And so this person can compete. The IOC articulated that they only use the legal sex of the athlete. And then you'll remember when Khelif competed against Italy's Angela Carini. Angela Carini abandoned the match after just 46 seconds. Carini had already competed against Khelif and had been hit really hard and just felt too injured to do that. And that's what caused this entire firestorm of people saying, okay, this is just not fair. And then also since then, you've seen a lot of boxers, when they get into the ring, they'll go like this, XX with their fingers, and it seems like they are in a kind of subtle way saying, yeah, I stand with women. I stand with people who have XX chromosomes, because that is what it means to be a woman. During an August 5th press conference, the IBA, the International Boxing Association, who says, yeah, Khelif is male and shouldn't compete, they discussed the reasoning for the boxers originally being disqualified from previous competitions against women and informed the audience that both boxers had not appealed their decision to the Court of Arbitration in Sport despite facing no financial burden to do so. So when the IBA found through their testing that these two boxers were actually male, they said, look, you can appeal this decision if you want to. If you think that this is wrong, there's a process that you can do that. It's totally free. Neither of the boxers did that. Further confirmation of the boxer's karyotype was given by Alan Abramson, an associate professor at the University of Southern California's Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. He is a specialist in Olympic sports and member of the International Olympic Committee's press committee. In a statement, Abramson said that he had personally viewed the results of the hotly contested chromosomal test ordered by the IBA in 2022 and 2023. Abramson revealed that the test concluded the boxer's DNA was that of a male. consisting of XY chromosomes. And then, as I said, Khelif's trainer confirms the problems with the chromosomes, even though he is defending Khelif. A lot of people are pointing out that after he won the gold medal in boxing, all of these men, his male trainers, are lifting him up, holding him, even tapping him on the chest, which in a very conservative male Muslim country like Algeria, that just would be culturally forbidden. Even if Khelif is not a stringent Muslim, the cross-dressing that we see when we look at everyday pictures of Khelif would not be acceptable. What I personally think is that everyone kind of understands in Algeria what's going on there, that they do actually consider him a man, and that's why they don't respect typical Muslim and cultural norms when it comes to how they interact with him, how they touch him, how they allow him to dress. I mean, he wears full suits, fully male clothing. There's no even attempt for him to like try to look feminine in any way. And this very traditional conservative, if you want to call it that, Muslim country, I think they all just kind of know. But of course they want him to compete against women. And because of perhaps his assignment at birth, there's like some wiggle room there. And of course, it allows him to win. And so that is probably what's happening. Other people are speaking out. A Bulgarian boxer, Joanna Noamaru, maybe, a female Bulgarian boxer. She is so far undefeated in her career. She said that she met Khelif in Bulgaria, was told by members of the Algerian national team that Khelif was a woman who had simply been biologically altered by living in the mountains. Okay? And this boxer said that she did not believe this. And so she provided comments to Redux revealing that Khelif had male power and used male techniques during a sparring match against her in Sofia, Bulgaria. Khelif has some kind of internal issues, but he is a man. I will stay by my words until he/she does a task to prove to the world that she is a woman. But we all know that will not happen. Noamaru is in the same weight class as Khelif, could have faced him in the Olympics. However, she did not make the final Olympic pick. Her colleague, I don't really totally understand how that works. If she's like undefeated, but also, I don't know, didn't make the final Olympic pick. Her colleague, Svetlana Staneva, represented Bulgaria in the Olympics and fought the other male, Lin Yu-ting, on August 4th. Staneva launched an international movement following the match with Lin after making, this is the person who did the XX symbol at the crowd, using her fingers, a clear nod to the chromosome controversy that had surrounded Lin with Khelif. I love that Megyn Kelly is saying this. She said to the Daily Mail in a tweet, I love you, Daily Mail, but I am begging you and other outlets to stop with the pronoun game. You are reporting on a male boxer who fought versus a woman using she, her for the man. It's wrong, confusing, and is meant to dull our senses to this gender insanity. Yes, Megyn, you are so right. And on her show a couple of years ago, I don't know if I can find the episode or the clip, but we had this conversation where I said this. I said, look, I'm not going to use she, her for a male because that assents to the entire theory that is leading to men in women's bathrooms. And that was like, I would say, earlier on her journey. And she hadn't come to that conclusion quite yet. I am so thankful for how strong she is on this, how out there she is on this, and is holding the line on that issue. And she's been very open about her evolution and her change on that, which I just really appreciate. I think that's really powerful. So I'm so glad that she's there speaking the truth about pronouns. The Babylon Bee says, Imane Khelif wins first ever gold medal in freestyle domestic violence. Whoops. And gosh, and like we can feel for Khelif, like we can, if it is true that he has some kind of issue. I won't even call it intersex because I think that's a misnomer. You're not really in between sexes, like he is a male. But if there was any confusion and he really thought that he was a woman, it would have been obvious to him and to everyone else after puberty, though, that he's really a male and he didn't have to go into boxing. But he did. But we can still have sympathy for that condition. We absolutely can. And we can say that was probably really hard and really confusing. But at the end of the day, the primary victim is the woman that is getting beaten up by the man. The primary victim in this scenario is the woman. not the man. Because at any point in the past several years, someone could have stopped and said, this is not right. I'm sorry, Khelif, that you're going through this. This is a devastating diagnosis. And like, we want to help you reconcile with that. But boxing is not the activity for you. That's not fair to these women. But he never said that. The people around him never said that. And that is why my sympathy is limited. Okay, y'all, I cannot believe it, but Labor Day is coming up. Oh my goodness. And since it's coming up, you need to make sure that you've got American meat on the grill. You should be getting that from Good Ranchers. They've got all American meat from local farms and ranches, zero antibiotics or hormones, pre-trimmed and individually packed. It makes eating healthy, trustworthy, and also just really easy. It saves you a lot of time. I never have to go to the grocery store and wonder, okay, is this meat just packaged in the USA? Is it actually from the US? What's in it? It says that it's organic. What does that even mean? I don't have to worry about any of that because my Good Ranchers box shows up at my front door once a month with my ground beef and my unmarinated chicken and my bacon, all the stuff my family eats on a daily basis. So right now, if you subscribe to any Good Ranchers box, you get a free add-on for a year. That's a full year of free plain chicken, Angus ground beef, Applewood bacon, or wild-caught salmon. And use my code Allie, and you also get $25 off your first box and free express shipping. GoodRanchers.com, code Allie. All right, let's end on some great gospel moments at the Olympics, which I just think it's amazing after the controversy with the opening ceremony and the clear mockery of the Last Supper. Don't tell me it was like an ode to Greek gods. We've already covered that. Let's not be obtuse here. It was at least in part a mockery of the Last Supper. And look, God will not be mocked. He can defend himself. Like he doesn't need us to be constantly outraged about the mockery of him. But it is okay for us to have been concerned about that. It is okay for us to not like that and to not like our faith to be belittled. But we do have reason to celebrate because I saw God glorified, openly, thanked by many athletes who could have taken the opportunity to just talk about how awesome they are, because that's what a lot of athletes do. A lot of athletes, when they are asked, like, yeah, it's all me. I'm just awesome, basically. And really, no one bats an eye. A lot of people just kind of expect that from athletes. But when given a public platform, several of these athletes gave glory to God, gave thanks to God. And this like hybrid creature that I saw at the Olympics of actual supermodel evangelists, like have the athletes at the Olympics always been this dang beautiful? And it's kind of not fair. I'm just going to say that. It's kind of not fair. I might disqualify you actually from the Olympics. If you are that talented and that fast and that awesome, and that beautiful, I don't know, DQ'd. That's all I have to say on that. But I am thankful for how these beautiful people shouted out the Lord when they had the opportunity. This is a German Olympic gold medalist, Yemisi Ogunleye. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. She broke out in gospel music in a press conference after winning gold in shot put. Here's that one.
So after falling, I went back to my seat and I sang a song. It means I almost let go. Jesus came and grabbed me. He held me close so I wouldn't let go. God's mercy kept me so I wouldn't let go. So I'm here today because God kept me. I'm alive today only because of His grace. Oh, He kept me.
Okay, do you see what I mean by that? That's rude. That you can be that strong and talented to be an Olympic gold medalist, and that beautiful if you're watching this on YouTube, and you have singing talent. I mean, really. So that was just beautiful. It was so good. I loved that. I was tearing up when I was listening to that. And then American Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, she won the gold medal in the women's 400-meter hurdles. She set a new world record with an incredible run of 50.37 seconds. That is incredible. Like, I was asking my husband, I was like, what distance could I run in 50 seconds? I think I could run, if I were running for my life. Okay, so I don't know what's chasing after me. A cheetah, a bear, a lion, I don't know. If I were running for my life, I think I could run 250 seconds. And she, who is not running for her life, is running a 450 seconds. Not only that, she is jumping over obstacles. I honestly don't think I could jump over one hurdle. You know what they should do? I'm sure other people have suggested this too. When you're watching the Olympics, there needs to be, like, on the screen some kind of technology where you see, like, average person, just like a little hologram. Like, as the Olympians are going, you see where the average person would be in the race. That's what I want to see. Like, okay, 10 to 12 minute mile girl. Like, what is she looking like in relation to these people who are just like not even human, it seems like. And Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone is so faithful to share the gospel, and that is the most, beautiful part about her. She's always sharing her testimony and giving glory to God. And I love that. In addition to just being an incredible athlete, I think it's amazing how bold she is in her faith. Here's that too.
I credit all that I do to God. He's given me a gift. He's given me a drive to just want to continue to improve upon myself. And I have a platform and I want to use it to glorify Him. And so whenever I step on the track, it's always the prayer of God, let me be the vessel in which you're glorified, whatever the result is. How I conduct myself, how I carry myself, not just how I perform. And so it's just freedom in knowing that regardless of what happens, He's going to get the praise through me. And yeah, that's why I do what I do.
Yes, girl. She and her husband are so sweet and precious. I love following them. A lot of you have asked me to have her on the show. I would love that. We'll try to make it happen. Brazilian skateboarder Rayssa Leal, she quoted John 14:6 using sign language after she won the bronze medal. This is so sweet. Thought 3.
Do Brasil!
Oh my goodness. So if you don't know John 14:6, that is Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through Him. And so what a verse to sign to the world. I love that. Last sponsor for the day is Focus on the Family. Focus on the Family has been encouraging Christian parents for decades. We listened to Focus on the Family and the radio in the car when I was little, and they are still putting out amazing content, encouraging biblical content for parents. There's an amazing podcast that they have right now called Focus on the Family with Jim Daly. Every episode of this Christian podcast is designed to help you confidently guide your loved ones through the unique challenges faced by today's Christian families. They talk to all kinds of experts in the field. You will leave every episode feeling equipped and edified. So go ahead and subscribe to Focus on the Family with Jim Daly on your favorite podcast platform. You can go to focusonthefamilywithjimdaly.com. You will absolutely love this show. It will add so much to your life. Go to focusonthefamilywithjimdaly.com. And then you've got Novak Djokovic, who has obviously been through a lot over the past few years with his refusal to get the vaccine. He won the gold medal for Serbia. And men's singles tennis, he thanked God for giving him this opportunity. Here's Top 4.
I feel very grateful to all the people. I feel grateful to God to giving me this mercy and giving me this blessing and this opportunity. Because at that time, it was almost impossible to achieve all of these things. And but nothing is impossible. When you have faith and when you have power and you believe in yourself, nothing is impossible.
I love that. I mean, I think that this is just a great testimony and great examples of what we always say, that God's eternal plan of redemption is always going off without a hitch. It might not be the stuff that's making headlines. It might not be the stuff that's going viral. But he is always seeking the lost sheep, and he is always seeking the lost coin. And what he seeks, he will find. What he sets out to do, he will accomplish. Even when all this chaos and craziness is going on over here, God is completely and totally in control, and he is doing exactly what he has set out to do. And he is winning hearts and souls to himself, and he is so gracious that he uses us as vessels. He uses our evangelism. He uses our prayers. He uses our obedience. He doesn't need that, but he has preordained providentially the means by which he is going to accomplish his will. And we get to participate in that eternal plan of redemption. And so thank you to the athletes who had a platform and gave glory to God. And at the end of the day, like, that glory, that goodness, that power, that faithfulness is so much bigger and better and deeper and more beautiful than any of the derisive, silly, ugly mockery that we saw at the beginning of the Olympics. So be of good cheer. God is always, always accomplishing good things in and through his people. All right, that's what we're going to end on today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back here tomorrow.